Welcome back to another episode of NaytonTech. Today we're going to be finishing my three-part series of the Logitech peripherals that I use on my gaming machine. My first part was for the Logitech G13 gamepad. The second was the Logitech G602 gaming mouse. And this one we're going to be going over my Logitech G910 Mechanical Gaming keyboard. There are two different keyboard styles that you can buy the Logitech G910 in. The first one is the Orion Spark. The second one is the Orion Spectrum. The two differences between these are the keycap styles and the wrist rest style. Everything else is pretty much the same as far as how it works, what keys are on there and whatnot. I have the Orion Spark, so I'll show you what that one looks like. Here is the escape key, and you can see that it's got some what they call faceted cut keys. They kind of look more like chisel cut. They're not smooth. On the Spectrum, the keycaps on these they just have a nice rounded top. So that's the difference on all of the keys, and all of the keys on these are cut that way. You can even like your enter key has just two edges on it, the shift key and the spacebar key or whatnot. Where the Spectrum just has nice rounded keycaps. The other difference is your wrist rest, and I'll put some pictures up here on the two different styles that are available. I've actually seen three different wrist rests. Some of the forums that I read showed that they came with two different styles. Mine only came with one in the box, which is this style. There's another one that actually comes out further, and then a third style that just basically is flat all the way across. It doesn't have any real main design. But also I'll throw pictures of those up here so you guys can see what's been released with the G910. The keyboard has 113 keys, 9 of which are programmable. You have G1 through G9, 3 on the side, 4 on the top. You do have 3 memory keys, memory 1, 2, and 3, and a live programming MR button that you can program those on the fly if you need to. It does have dedicated media controls. You have play, pause, stop, previous and next track. There's a dedicated mute button, a dedicated scroll, or not a scroll wheel, but a volume up and down. This does not have any feedback to it. It doesn't feel like a wheel on a scroll wheel on a mouse. It's just very smooth, very quick in instant changes. I was worried that I wouldn't like it when I read about it on the website, but I've actually really fallen in love with it. It as quick as it responds, you notice the feedback on the screen. You don't really feel it here on the keyboard, but like I said, it is really nice. I was very impressed. This button here turns all your LEDs on and off. So if you're at night, the wife's sleeping, or I don't want any extra light in the room, I can turn these off. This button here is a dedicated game mode button that turns on and off. So when game mode is on, and I've actually never used it, I've never really had a purpose, but when game mode is on, you can actually go into the software and turn off specific keys, like your Windows key. So you don't actually accidentally hit that, kick yourself out of your game. It actually disables that key. Can be done with any of the keys. When you go into the software, it gives you a view of the whole keyboard. You can click each key on and off. And it's also per profile. So you can have some that have certain keys and other ones you can disable whatever you need. So a lot of programming with this keyboard that gives you pretty much whatever configuration you want. It is a wired keyboard. Has a nice thick cable, probably a good 6 feet. You can swap these out if you do buy the Orion Spectrum and you want some of your keycaps to have the chiseled look, or vice versa. You can buy some of the keycaps in sets. So if you decide you don't like one, you can move to the other. Another feature of this keyboard is it does have or support what Logitech calls their ARCS control. It's an app that you run on your phone, and I believe it's available for Apple and Android. It has a spot where you can put your phone in, and on the screen, I'll see if I can get a screenshot of it, but it can give you your temperatures, what speed you're running everything at. You can kind of pick and choose what you want it to show. It kind of replaces the old keyboard. I can't remember the model off the top of my head. I'll post it down here what model it was, but it had a a screen on it, kind of like the G13 does, where you could get readouts and things like that of what you were wanting to see from your computer. Is no way to really charge your phone while it's there, but I haven't noticed that it uses a lot of power. I think I had it running for a couple hours and didn't really notice much power drain off it. So it's a very very efficient app as far as battery goes when it's pulling all that data from your computer and feeding it to you here on the screen. A little bit nicer than the G13 screen that I have because it's, you know, pretty small. Where this one you can use your whole phone or a spare phone or whatever. And it kind of tucks back in there. Full RGB illumination on this, 100% programmable. If you saw one of my previous videos where I reviewed this with the Mass Effect Andromeda setup that it had, where the keys were kind of live keys, they would change depending on what you needed. That's pretty much programmable on this one as well. I've set up a couple games kind of the same way. They weren't live where if I would get so low on ammo that the R would kick on, but I could put the R as a red so I knew it was for you know, any type of attack, things like that. You can color code keys to how you want to set it up. The mechanical switch on these are I love them. They're very, very fast response, faster than actually the Cherry MX as far as how far you have to push down before they activate. These will activate after 1.5 millimeters of travel, and with a max travel of 3 millimeters. Your Cherry MX switches activate after 2 millimeters, so half a millimeter longer before they activate, and they have a max travel of 4 millimeters. So they have a lot more travel, not as quick a response. A lot of it's a preference, and that was pretty much, I looked on their website, and it looked like pretty much all of them had that same spec. I have found a couple other mechanical switches out there when I was doing some research that were activate, I think as quick as 1.2 millimeter. But I think the Roamer G keys that they have kind of have that nice medium ground. I like how they're, you get some sound from them. Some keys are a little bit louder than others, but they're not, I've used some other mechanical keyboards and they're quite a bit louder, but it depends on which, like with the Cherry MX, you can get quieter or louder keys depending on what you want, how much feedback you want. I like these ones. I kind of feel that they have a nice medium ground. They're not too loud, not too quiet. They have a nice fast response. After using this, I've actually find myself mistyping on other keyboards a little bit more because I'm used to how quick these ones respond that I don't actually push my finger, I don't actually type on them, or I'm pushing the key down all the way. So when I use a normal keyboard, I'm not pushing the keys down far enough to actually activate the keys. So I've noticed after using this that my typing, I have to adjust to the keyboards a little bit more. Comfort, like I said, it does come with two, I couldn't find an exact, but I've seen 3 different wrist styles. The one I have is actually pretty comfortable. I found myself using this to game on more than my G13 gamepad because it's just as comfortable, and the key setup is a little more familiar than the G13, so I don't have to kind of remember where all of the keys are. Even though I've programmed them, it's still a slightly different keyboard setup, so it's a mental thing. Since this is the last video in the series, I'm going to kind of pull everything together. The software that Logitech provides with all of their peripherals really kind of pulls everything together. You've heard me talking about how when I change, especially on the G13, how if I change a profile, it changes all 3 of my peripherals. My mouse buttons change, these 9 buttons on here can change, as well as if I have it in game mode, other keys can be turned on and off so I'm not accidentally doing things that I don't want to. I can change the memory, and I believe all 3 of these will actually change the memory across the board. So I've got 3 memory keys here, as well as the 3 M1, M2, M3 on the G13 that will switch kind of like sub-profiles underneath each game or application that I've programmed. The way Logitech has put all this stuff together allows you to use all of these devices as kind of like one device. You can program them all together, and as you switch applications, it allows you to use all of them differently. you can, do all your color coding, all of that kind of stuff. The software just gives you a lot more power than just your nice keyboard that it is already, but it adds to all of that. Lets you program where, your G6 key can bring up your keyboard when you're in Windows mode. But you can do something else in StarCraft or Destiny 2 or whatever. So it gives you that flexibility to have multiple different peripherals without having to change everything each time you change applications or games. On March 10th, 2018, my buddy Cody is going to be doing a 16-hour Dark Souls marathon live on Twitch. It's going to start at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. He's trying to get over 100 followers. By then, I think he's around 80 or so now. If he does, he'll be doing a Dark Souls giveaway. I'm not sure what the giveaway is. I'll also be lending Cody my Logitech G933 gaming headset to use during this marathon. He's going to do a little review, kind of see how he likes it, talk about it a little on the stream. He's in a position to buy one right now, so I figured I'd let him use it for the 16-hour marathon, see what he thinks. So anyway, if you're interested, definitely check out the links below. If you have any comments on the Logitech G910 keyboard or any of the other Logitech stuff that I've been reviewing, definitely hit me up in the comments. Thanks for watching this 3-part series. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.